and welcome to the latest edition of the Gutsy podcast. Usual, thank you for watching, thank you for listening, thank you for all your comments. It's been pretty inspiring stuff. If you haven't already, please subscribe by whatever your vehicle is, whether that's YouTube, whether that's Spotify, or we just launched Apple Podcasts. So get on that and you can get all we got to information quicker than anybody else, which is nice. Been a bit of a week. I'm super excited with our guest today. We've all went international. Really. I would love you guys to tune into this. We've got the lovely Hayley Edwards all the way from Melbourne, Australia.
Woohoo! Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. I wish you were coming. We could say you were coming just for the podcast, but you're here in other business.
Yeah. This is good.
Yeah, definitely. For those of you who don't know, you maybe if you follow the Catherine McHugh Foundation pages, you'll have seen us promote Hayley's solo play at the Fringe. Mm-hmm. Beautifully called Shitbag. And I went to see it yesterday and it was absolutely phenomenal, Hayley.
Thank you.
I thought it was myself and the long-suffering wife, Julie, went along to see it. And I have to say it was unbelievable. I'm not just saying this because you are here, I promise, because if you get anything on Gutsy, it's honesty. And if you were shit, we would tell you. In fact, if you were shit, you wouldn't be here.
I always say to people, tell people if you liked it and if you thought it was shit, then that sort of works as well, because that's sort of a pun then, you know.
Yeah, yeah, and you're like, oh, right, well, where can I make an improvement? For those of you who don't know, I'm going to read this from the Fringe Festival, and it might give people a little bit of an insight. Mm-hmm. I'll probably stumble through it, so you need to forgive me for that as well. Why is it easier to talk about bowel disease than mental illness? We'll get into that. Darkly comedic and life-affirming, this one-person play reveals the reality of living with chronic mental and physical health conditions. We follow a young genderqueer person through a Crohn's disease diagnosis, hypo-manic episode, colostomy bag fears, queer sex, group sex, morality, mortality, blood, shit, laughter, and tears. Hayley Edwards brings her multi-award winning, did you hear multi-award winning? Debut play to Summer Hall with the Edinburgh Touring Award after 2 highly acclaimed sold out extended seasons in Melbourne. Think Fleabag, but with more queer shit. Literally.
That's correct.
What do you think about that? I mean, that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot in there, and there's like a big warning at the start of just all the themes, and I think people go, oh no, but it's just a lot of things mentioned briefly, and I just want to freak anyone out, and it's sort of said with humour, I hope, as well. There's
plenty of humour in it. It is, it's like... Aye, it's barely laugh funny at times, and then you go, oh no, I shouldn't be laughing at that. Oh, fuck it, you should.
Yeah,
you need to get your laughs where you can. Totally. But you know something that I noticed about I only went to a couple of shows, but we, you know, because we were just at Summer Hall last night. What I noticed was that loads of the shows have got warnings now. I don't think they've always had that. Yeah. We've been going to the festival for years. Do people need warned about stuff now? It's a thing. It's like when you go to buy your ticket, the person who sells you your ticket tells you, just to let you know, there's things that may trigger you.
Yeah, right.
Oh, thank you very much. And they run through, and then they've got the signs at the entrance to tell you that as well. And I don't think it's ever been like that before. But anyway,
there's a big discussion about whether that's helpful or not helpful. I think I've just sort of got it there in case people do want it, and if they don't have to read it. But I sort of say it at the start in a big long list. It's sort of meant to be funny because there's just so much stuff. Yeah. But then if someone has something that comes up, they're like, oh yeah, well I was warned.
Yeah, true. However, I went to see another show, and I won't mention the show. And And it didn't warn me what was happening in there, because we were surprised. It wasn't what it said in the tin, even though I have to say it was excellent, but it wasn't what I expected.
You wanted a warning on that, yeah?
Yes, I walked out requiring a warning. I'm personally fine, but I could understand if somebody was a wee bit like, whoa.
Yeah, didn't expect that.
But it was very good. So, first time in Scotland?
Yeah, first time in Scotland, first time doing the Edinburgh Fringe, which is, yes, why I've come over, which is very cool. It's been great to be here, and I came over like a month beforehand to Scotland because I was doing a bit of travelling, because I wanted to see Edinburgh before the Fringe as well, because I know it's just must be such a different place. It really fills up with people and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And what do you feel? Do you feel there is a big difference between the well, obviously there's more people and there's much more happening, but did you like the vibe before?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I mean, it's just pretty amazing, like the buildings and the landscape and everything.
Yeah, the big castle stuck.
Yeah, big castle. Yeah,
big castle.
Big hill.
Yeah, Arthur's Seat.
Yeah, Arthur's Seat.
Did you go up Arthur's Seat?
I did.
Did you? I've never been up Arthur's Seat.
Oh, really?
No, never.
I went up the other day.
Was it you that set it on fire the other day?
Oh, we went 2 days after that, and there was like a small fire down the bottom. I was like, what's going on? But we went up there, and then there were like, it was weird. There were like all these flies at the top, and this like sort of structure thing. I was like, is this a toilet at the top of Arthur's Seat? Like,
yeah, they put it there for you.
Yeah, no, literally. I was like, what is going on? There's shit everywhere. No, yeah, I was really confused. I was like, why are there flies? So I don't know what that was, but
no,
the day I went there were lots of flies.
I've never been. So the Fringe, the world famous Fringe, the biggest arts festival in the world, and you've got your run. By the time this goes out, it will have passed. But having seen the show last night, it's absolutely incredible. You're awful talented, I have to say.
Thank you, that's very kind.
But I think to do one woman show and flying through all the emotions of the day and what, boldly telling a story that most people would shy away from, to say the least. So, hats off. And how have you, we've got, what, a week to go, just under a week to go. How is your Fringe experience? Because, we work with loads of guys through our fundraising as a charity that do Fringe shows and have done them for years, mostly comedians. How's it been?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it's really hard to summarize. It's over back home at Melbourne Fringe. There's 500 shows, and I know a lot of theatre makers and comedians and stuff. And I'm like, oh God, I can't see everything. It's so stressful. There's 500 shows, which it is. That 500 is massive. And over here, it's like 4,000 shows. So it's just pretty overwhelming, just like the scale of it and how many things there are to see. And I guess the advice I was given was to just like choose what you want to focus on in terms of don't try and see everything, because you actually just can't.
It's impossible.
Yeah, and particularly if you're coming over, pardon me, doing like a show about illness or things like that, then of course you have less energy, I guess, to try and do everything, and you don't want to burn out.
Yeah. So I mean, I've always had a couple. Any time that I've ever come through as a Glasgow boy, a Ouija, and a planet, it never works. It never works, because sometimes the shows can be a little bit spread out. So it's like, right, okay, I'm going to pick one or two that I definitely want to see, and then I can stumble into stuff. Yeah. And sometimes you absolutely hit a gem.
You stumble into a regret. Oh no, I have to be here for an hour.
And you're the only people sitting there.
I know.
And you feel as if you have an
obligation.
You're obligated to be there for the individual.
Which is good that you think that. I have had a few. There were it was quite warm for a few of those days in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
And the lecture theatre that I'm in at Summer Hall got quite warm, I guess, and there were some people that were quite old coming to see the show who were sort of like falling asleep in the front row. Just clearly some people that have been exhausted.
Yeah. Well, clearly to do with the heat, not the show.
Yeah, not the show. Well, this is the thing. It's like, oh gosh, I I hope it's not that boring that someone's falling asleep. But I guess if you don't actually really know what you're walking into, it might not be your cup of tea as well. Which is fair enough.
To be fair, it's delivered in such a unique way as well that you know, I mean, it's impossible to kind of guess what you're going into, I think.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. So, I mean, we'll go into your story in a little bit. You know, your kind of your inflammatory bowel disease story. In fact, no. Do you know what? Why don't we start with that, and then we can get into the show.
Yeah.
So you were diagnosed in 2022.
Yes, 2022.
So, in the grand scale of things, not that long ago.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
And did you have how long did you have symptoms for prior to that? Did you think there was something?
Yeah.
Something brewing.
Yes. Yeah, I had sort of like strange digestion, I guess, like periods of constipation or diarrhea for like 2 years before that.
Oh, really?
I think from 2020, I probably had symptoms, and I had like episcleritis in my eyes, like red eyes and ulcers in my mouth and sort of like hemorrhoids and things like that. So I think...
all the great stuff.
Yeah, all the great stuff. But I had no sort of like super overt worrying symptoms in terms of like I didn't ever have blood or anything like that, which is why when the event of 2022 occurred, which is in the play, which is basically, just like massive blood clot from my arse. Don't know what I can say here, but I will keep it. Yeah,
it was beautifully presented, and in Shitbag. To be honest with you, what actually is that you present?
It's kids slime.
Right.
Basically, I've made like this blood clot thing out of just like kids slime, like from a craft store.
Highly creative, because I was watching you last night, and I'm like, what about that actually is? True. I know. No, it has to be something I actually want to touch every day to have to pick it up during the show, you know. Yeah. So it's all totally not anything terrible. Yeah. So, and that was the kind of turning point to to the diagnosis then?
I guess I had like a sort of medical emergency, which I feel as though a lot of people that I've heard of, and I'm sure like you've spoken to, I imagine so many more people that have this type of thing as well. Yeah. And there's been lots of people that have come to see the show or like back home have talked to me about it, seeing the show there as well, who've had it. So I feel like I've spoken to a few people now too. But I feel as though it often takes like something relatively dramatic to actually get a diagnosis, because otherwise it's sort of hidden, and it's like one of those invisible disabilities or like hidden illnesses that it's not obvious what it is until something bad happens that you have to pay attention to.
Yeah, I think there's definitely an element of that, but I also think is that human beings, we kind of like, most people just kind of go, oh, right, I'm just getting on with this.
Yeah, totally.
And they don't really think too much about it.
Totally.
And they've maybe they've maybe got to the toilet a wee bit more. They've maybe got the symptom, but they don't maybe realise it to begin with, and they're just kind of getting on with life and going, I'll be fine.
Totally. And there's lots of people that like continue on with really severe symptoms as well. Yeah. It's funny, I should have told you sooner than this, but my friend Robin Reynolds has a stand-up show, basically like a stand-up, not version of Shitbag, but like we're both from Melbourne, both won awards for it, and she's got her story about being diagnosed with Crohn's as but it's stand-up. Oh no, you hadn't heard of it. I should have told you. But she's brilliant. Robin Reynolds.
She's got a great name.
She's got a great name, and she's so lovely. I think she's from the UK originally, actually, but she's lived in Australia for at least the years I've known her, and her story is very different and her symptoms are very different, and she spent 2 years with blood in her stool trying to get a diagnosis, and people saying, is it, testing her for pregnancy, or I think sometimes women face like extra barriers in like stuff like endometriosis, or just saying, maybe it's something else, until she was vomiting blood, and then they finally took her seriously, which it just shouldn't get to that.
No, I would agree, and it's not. I think you touched on something that's pretty relevant, and it's been spoken about on Gutsy before as well. Like, you girls do have other challenges that
Yeah.
that and through the diagnosis at times, most definitely.
Yeah, and I think also though men probably, to make this men and women, but like I think probably men also have barriers in terms of just like that getting on with it. It's fine, like not reaching out for different things as well. So it's like a different type of thing. There's another comedian, I'm sure you know. I think he mentioned your organisation to me. I reached out to Liam.
Liam with me.
Yeah.
I was just about to say.
Yeah, so Liam came and saw the show, which was so nice of him because I was
Liam's been on the podcast.
Yeah, I'd assume so. Yeah, he's great. I need to watch his show, but he's sold out all the time, so it's great.
No, he's
this show's gone really well.
I have to say, he's been flying ever since he was on here.
Yeah. I should have come in earlier. Could have sold some more tickets.
Yeah, easily. It was terrible planning. No, Liam had a show just totally about his
last year
UC journey.
Yeah. He sent me a YouTube
It's brilliant.
link. Yeah.
I think he's moved on for that now. I'm sure he mentions it in his show. I've not been lucky enough to see his latest show.
Yeah.
But great guy, and his story was bonkers. I mean, his diagnosis came basically when he ran the London Marathon, and he was finished, and after it, he collapsed.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. He basically collapsed, and he was in a hospital for a while and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, again, he puts a fantastically funny tilt on it. You know, going through pretty heavy trauma. Pretty heavy scenario.
And I wasn't sure because mine's theatre, not comedy. And at the start, before I'd presented it to people, I was like, oh, maybe this is like, not funny at all. And then I gave it to an audience and they were laughing and laughing. I was like, oh, thank goodness. It's funny because I feel like the jokes sort of, well, these comedians are very talented, the ones we've mentioned, but some of my jokes in particular sort of write themselves just because like talking about shit is funny. Like as soon as you have a fart sound effect, there's humour. So I'm pretty proud of the comedic elements of it because it's not like what I do,
But I would push back and say to you, it is what you do.
Well, it is now. It is now.
Because I think you absolutely set the tone before you even come in the room.
That's
because you can hear your voice and you're kind of setting people up with the warnings basically and stuff like that. And there's absolute comedy in that as well. So it's I would comedy's definitely a bit. And I think the way that you come across in the show and the kind of the contact you have with the audience and stuff like that, and sometimes it's just a little look, sometimes it's a smirk, sometimes it's a body movement, literally.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean it goes deep, it goes dark, but I'm a fan of a bit of dark humour, to be honest with you. So I'm good with that. But I know Liam was on last season on Gutsy. He's a good lad.
Yeah, totally.
As an Englishman, he stays in Edinburgh. I believe.
Yeah.
So you got the diagnosis, and where did you go from there?
Yeah, so I went to like emergency department at like a local.
And this is in Melbourne?
Yeah, in the Footscray Public Hospital in Melbourne, which is like western suburbs. Back home. And in the play I mentioned it as well because the play is basically like all the true story, but it's slightly different as well in real life. But just because theatrically some things are more boring or more interesting and it's got to be shoved into an hour. But I was sort of there and they were like, oh, it might be an infection. Oh, we probably won't get a colonoscopy or anything like that. And I was like, oh, okay, but could I have one? And I sort of like started to just like push a little bit. And eventually I did get one, and thank goodness, because I don't think they would have properly tested me. Like I could have been like Robin and had more years with stuff like that. And so then they did that and then they came back and they're like, oh yeah, that's Crohn's.
But I think you touched on a couple of things there. You were advocating for yourself and kind of pushing it.
Yeah.
Because it felt right. Not everybody can do that. Not everybody's got that in them.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about Robin, she's like got into a really, really bad state, in a bad condition, and a bad scenario because, and this isn't a criticism of her not pushing and advocating for herself, but it's like it sounds bad to me that you have to push that bit more to be heard to actually get to where it needs to be.
Yeah. And to be fair to her, I think she is someone that pushed, but also that it's just difficult to, or like you can push, but maybe someone, and also there's like, we've actually, some medical systems are just overwhelmed and they're like, well, we've got someone that we know needs this thing. So actually you're further down the list or something, but, so I get that too, but I'm so glad that I got diagnosed then. And then spent a week in hospital and was mostly on steroids. I think they might have tried a medication while I was there, but it wasn't very good for my liver or something like that. But I was in there for a week on steroids, mostly on prednisolone. There's like 2 different names for it, whatever. And then I was actually meant to like move to Sydney to do this play for 3 months. And I was like, I need to leave because I've got to start my career. I've got to move cities. And they were like, oh, okay. And sort of by that point, I wasn't like, there was no blood anymore and things like that, or less so. But it was like a new diagnosis, and I like relocated myself by myself for 3 months, or maybe 4 months, on this with new diagnosis, new medication, all this sort of stuff.
Right.
Yeah. And then over there I started on Stelara, which is like one of the medications that's more long term. Yeah.
So that's when you moved. Did you move to Sydney for the show?
Yeah, I moved to Sydney for this to understudy a show, actually. I was like post-COVID, and finding work as an actor was quite difficult. I like graduated during the pandemic on Zoom and stuff. And then
graduated on Zoom? Yeah.
Theatre school on Zoom. It's not recommended.
No,
but that's what it was, because that's the year it was.
But see when you go back and you look at COVID and you go, I mean, that's fucking bonkers.
I know.
Obviously, it was it was sad in so many ways, and how it's affected the world, and to a certain extent, to a large extent, it still does. You've absolutely got a knock-on effect to it. But when you look back, you're going, I mean, you're doing theatre school via Zoom.
Yeah.
It's just
I know. It's funny to think that it was now like years ago, but it's still, I feel like we don't really talk about, like someone was saying it's interesting that there's not many shows about COVID. I'm like, oh, thank God. But it really was a time that did affect a lot of things, and
it's
stuff
crazy
like
to think, you can't have any more than 4 people in your garden.
Yeah, I feel like every place dealt with it very differently in terms of like in Australia, in Melbourne, we were the most like lockdown state.
Oh, were you?
Yeah. So, because everyone was like, had a different premier sort of making more specific rules for different sections.
Yeah.
And so we had like, I think a year of lockdown spread over on and off for over 2 years. So we had like a lot of lockdown. So I think like a lot of Melbourne is probably still reeling from that psychologically.
Yeah.
But also, like, I got over here, I landed in London from Melbourne, and I saw, like, the COVID wall of, like, a memorial wall. I don't know if you've seen it. It's, like, it's, like, the Big Ben is on one side of the river, and then on the other side there's, like, a memorial wall with all these, like, love hearts, and people have written the names of people that passed.
In London?
Yeah, and the wall goes for, like, massive amounts. And I'd actually just forgotten that so many people passed away, because in Australia I think less people did, because we had less COVID there in comparison. And so being here, I was like, oh, yeah, right. That's a thing that really happened differently.
I kind of look at things in a simplistic way, I think.
Yeah.
For a reason. And I'm thinking, like, right, okay, so can you not just stop it by stop people travelling in between countries? So the UK is an island. So that should be quite easy to contain. Australia's a very big
island.
Very big one. So it should be relatively simple, but that never really happened, did it? Because they were still letting people come in and out.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Yeah, I think we should.
I wasn't in charge.
Yeah, I think we should have been in charge. We could have sorted it out. So I mean, so the play is basically, and I got this wrong, because I was trying to work out after seeing it what the time scale was, what the play was over. So it's basically, is that basically over your time in Sydney then?
Yeah. Although that element isn't in there as much about like I'm in a play or like I've moved cities or all that stuff, just because
because you can't put every single detail.
No,
in.
and it just complicated it a little bit, like as a story. So I went on the the journey of it in other ways. Like there's just like, there's lots of stories about sex and things like that because the steroids made me a bit heightened, I think, in terms of the energy. Everyone has very different experience with prednisone as well. Prednisolone, it's like a drug that is amazing and horrible all at once, and a lot of people become very reliant on it, and then our adrenal system doesn't work the same way without it. And I think there's like lots of different people that have then become like reliant on it or addicted to it in some ways, even though it's a prescribed thing, you know, and not addicted in a way that they're not still being prescribed. It's just a really, really powerful medication that then leads to like weight gain, and that's a big symptoms that a lot of people deal with. And what else is there? Yeah, there's a whole range of things. So it's really extreme for a lot of people, and the heightened mood and energy is something that happens. But I think mine is like a specific experience of it, but not a super common one, I don't think.
Right. So for people watching Gutsy who haven't seen the show or yet to see the show, what was your experience then?
Yeah, so I was put on steroids, and then the play is basically about my diagnosis and being put on these steroids. And then from there, I was in hospital. In the play, I say it was on Google that I found it out, but it was actually just this doctor that came in and said, who I never saw again. So it's almost like he was a phantom of my imagination, which is not true because I told it to another doctor and he's like, who was this guy? I know, which doesn't help. But so this doctor came in and told me that I have a 1 in 10 chance of needing an ostomy bag or a stoma bag, colostomy bag, ostomy bag, which I'm sure your listeners know what that is, I would assume. So that part of my intestine might need to be cut out and then a bag put in at some point in my life. And I had never really heard of it before and was completely overwhelmed and was crying and really, really scared and sad and freaked out by this news that this is something that I might need being told to me by this doctor. And then I actually remember he sort of saw my reaction and was like, oh, I just tell people that so that they stay on their medication or something. Like he was a really random doctor. Like I've had some really weird experiences with different doctors, but yeah, and then I never saw him again, so I don't even know. But there is this, risk that I live with of if certain medications continue to stop working, which has happened in the years since the play was written, then at what point do you then need to have a surgery that then leads to a bag, which a lot of people have for lots of different reasons, not even IBD, and coming to terms with that. Anyway, in the play, I was put on these steroids and I was like, while I don't have a bag, I need to have as much sex as I can before I have one. And I'd just gone through, also I'd had a separation from a partner that was for 6.5 years. So I was single for the first time in my adult life and was like, woohoo, let's, sex, drugs and rock and roll, blah, blah, blah. Less rock and roll, but just trying to make it more palatable slightly. Then the play is just about this manic hypersexual journey whilst dealing with a new illness, and lots of stories about sex and consent and lack thereof in both the medical system and with sexual partners, and your relationship to your brain and your body and your health and love and life, and also that reckoning of the idea of mortality sort of slapping you in the face, or the reminder of that. Because in the play I talk about it, but in hospital I was there's this quote from the show that says I'm the youngest and hottest person on the gastroenterology ward, which has been quoted ad nauseum in reviews, which is a line that I'm very proud of. And actually after one show in Melbourne, this girl came up to me and she's like, I just thought I'd tell you that we're in competition for the youngest and hottest in the gastroenterology. It was great though. She was saying, I have it too, it's great. Not in competition about it, in a really, really nice, sort of flirty way. It was great. Yeah, but, but who was? Well, she wasn't at that ward, so we're fine. I think I said we're not competing, we're at different hospitals.
Because it was a different ward. Yeah, but if you were in the same ward,
I'm not there to judge. I'll get someone else. But it was just a lot of people in this public ward that were coming in with emergencies, and a lot of them were like had cancers, had really, really, really extreme stuff happening, and were decades older than me or generations older than me. There's a lot of old people with really, really severe things happening in this ward, and like a shared room with them, and overhearing, conversations about bowel cancer and not wanting any more treatment with this 92-year-old guy, or like hearing about all these different things going on around me. So it was really this like, and because at the time I didn't know, it was a new diagnosis. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if I was going to get a bag, if I was going to then be told it's a cancer, and I might also, and being told also that Crohn's like has a increased risk of cancers and things like that.
I mean, they were giving you the really heavy news, weren't they?
Yeah, it wasn't. And then they put me on this medication. I was like, ooh, but I'm so happy. Ooh, this has changed my life. Woohoo. And so then I went to Sydney and I had all this sex and,
Was it? And do you think that you had that heightened sexuality because of the drug, because of the, you were running on adrenaline, but the trauma, because, you were like, you had the fear of that stat that had been thrown at you, that you had to kind of live your life to the full because you thought that, the intimacy with the bag would have been impossible, which is of course not true.
Of course not true, exactly. And that's the thing, sometimes people come to the show, particularly over here. I think less people back home came to it with an experience of IBD because it was just like my friends and the theatre people and, different communities, but there were a few, which was really good. And then over here, because I've just built an audience from nothing, but like, I feel like more people have come because of the themes about IBD, which has been really good. But I guess I have different thoughts and feelings about IBD and about bags and stuff now than at the time that I wrote the play, which is how I sort of try and wrap it up at the end to be like, because sometimes I see in the audience someone that I know has a bag or is coming because of the IBD, and at the start I'm like, I've got to have sex before I have a bag, because then blah, blah, blah. And I see them going, oh, fuck you, But by the end, it's hopefully...
Fuck you, Hayley.
But by the end, hopefully they can understand that like, that I've acknowledged that that's just like what I thought at the time, and that it's very different now. Yeah.
No, of course, because I think that, and even listening to the people that we've had in Gutsy and then just generally in day to day, that's a natural thought.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
That's a totally natural thought. So it's not unique.
Yeah.
Probably how you dealt with it's a bit more unique than most, but
I know.
Batter on.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was the Telegraph the other day, a newspaper came and wrote this piece that wasn't a review, it was about like the Fleabag effect. Because of course, like Edinburgh Fringe, Fleabag is like a very famous, one person show. And so mine is sort of references, like Shitbag is colostomy bag, Shitbag is about like, I guess going out there and being a bit of a shitbag in terms of like, the sex and drugs and things like that. But also the shitbag is like a reference to one person plays and just being like, I'm aware that everyone does this and I'm also doing it too, but I'm aware that everyone does it and I'm sorry, but it sort of works with the themes. So I think it's a clever title.
Apologise to nobody.
Yeah. But the Telegraph had written this article recently, which I still don't know how I feel about it. It was like sort of,
really?
It was sort of, I think the title was something like Fleabag was a hit, but it has cursed theatre for the next decade. And then my piece was mentioned in it and I was like, uh-oh.
Oh, cheers, mate.
Yeah, cheers. But they sort of complimented it, but then they said in the description, like, Hayley sort of, or like this character had sex before they became undesirable. And I was like, and I sort of, I guess I'm saying it right now because I like publicly, I hope that that's not, I don't think that was the takeaway from the piece, but he was writing, not for an IBD audience and not with a full knowledge of what the play really was.
Yeah, and not with a full knowledge of what we're talking about.
Well, exactly. And that undesirable is never a word that I used and wouldn't. No, just because I think that's a bit crap.
Absolutely not.
It's a bit crap, no pun intended.
The jokes come free.
Yeah.
But one of the great things, I mean, I personally think, and I probably speak for a lot of people, and that the more people in our community talk about the experience especially and as raw and as candid and as just open, you know, as you have, it can only be good, you know, and it's not, you know, I think it's empowering for the inflammatory bowel disease community, for people within their family unit, but it's educational for the people who've not got a clue, so they can start to understand, and the more it becomes normalised and people understand it, then the better for everybody. You know, but so it's great, and it's great that you're so open about the physical side of it, about sex, because a lot of people don't talk about that either. You know, that they've, you know, a lot of our community have got intimacy issues, and it becomes a bit of a taboo. It shouldn't be a taboo.
Yeah.
You know.
I once met someone back in Melbourne who is like I think like a sex therapist or something like that, and she was going to go give a talk to like a stoma bag, like medical talk about sex and things like that. I was like, and I was meeting her, she didn't know I had a show. I was like, oh, you have to see, I have to talk to you more. I was like, I've got this show, I talk exactly about that, you know. Yeah.
And you know, the reviews that I've seen of the show are, you know, they're fantastic. They're overly positive, and I said to you, I think of the only ones that I've seen are 5 stars, but you said there's 4.
The average is 4, yeah.
The average is 4. I want to know who's bringing it down. I want to know. Like,
the four in. I haven't gotten less than.
Let's reply.
Yeah. Although I feel like in Edinburgh a 4 is probably a Melbourne 5. Like there's just so many more shows over here.
No, it's still a brilliant.
The standard's
standard.
pretty high. Yeah.
Still a brilliant standard, by any stretch of imagination, and a big feature of it is, you know, we obviously talk a lot about IBD, and a big thing that we talk about often on here is mental health. Now, what I took away from the show was that you've had mental health challenges before your IBD. Now, that's a commonplace, but how did that, if you don't mind me asking, of course, how did the diagnosis of IBD affect what has been a challenge in the past, and how did, you know, was that an additional thing? Was it different, or how did it work for you?
Yeah, it's funny, like in the work I talk a lot about mental health, and then throughout it I'm like, there's this one diagnosis that I won't talk about specifically, which is fascinating because I still haven't really, which is funny because but I guess that's sort of slightly the point of the show in a way, in that I've been hospitalized from about 15 with a mental health diagnosis that is also affects you physically, and then but I kept that secret and still struggle to talk about that openly. But then when I was diagnosed with something physical, I went straight to Instagram, probably because of the steroids as well. But I was like, I've just been diagnosed with this thing. I'm in hospital, and people are like, oh, you know, floods of support and all this sort of stuff. And I went, oh, I've been in hospital for like 10 years, not for 10 years, but you know, at one time, and then off, and then
job there.
No. Well, yeah, I do now, but yeah, the same hospital actually, which is quite a yeah. Anyway, that's another thing. But yeah, so I'd sort of been in and out of the like different hospitals, and mostly for mental health stuff. And so then I was like, oh, I can talk about this because it's physical. But then telling that story and then turning it into a play, I've met so many people who quietly suffer with like this type of disease. And because it's about shit and about poo and toilets and stuff like that, there's obviously like a whole range of stigma, and a lot of people don't talk about this.
Yeah.
And so I was sort of fascinated by the fact that I can talk about a shit disease more than I can talk about certain mental health things. But then other mental health diagnoses I'm very, very open about and talk about in the play. But I guess it made me feel like I could advocate for myself a bit more because I had something, like when I got the photo of the colonoscopy, which I hold up in the play very proudly, and it is real. Anyway, that photo, and I'm sort of like, yeah, I can take a photo of this. This is real. There's something physically wrong, and it's not my fault, which I guess in the play also, by the end, I'm like, I guess mental health is not your fault either, because it's a chemical thing, you know. Like,
so before that, did you blame yourself for mental health challenges? A
little bit, yeah. I think for sure, I definitely thought that there was, more blame to be given to myself, and just because of the way that illness can impact the people around you, and particularly mental illness, and the secrecy of that or the stigma of that is just, a lot of shame or a lot of guilt in how it can affect people around you. So,
but I think like anything that you know, whether it's mental health or inflammatory disease or something else, I think that the effect that it has on the people around you is there's a relationship between their understanding of that and their openness to what it is, you know, because it's like, I think some people can be judgmental, some people can be a little bit ignorant of it, and if, you know, if they don't understand something, they push against it rather than be curious and try and understand it as well.
Yeah.
So I think that the effect on the people around you says sometimes more about them than you.
Yeah.
And how they deal with that. But I think more as time goes on, I think speaking about mental health and is much more open than it certainly used to be.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, I mean, it's a totally different thing. I remember when I had big trauma because my mum, when my mum died, and for years and years and years, and until eventually somebody said to me, "You should go and see someone." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm not crazy," you know, because that, I mean, this was like 20 odd years ago. You know, I'm sure my age, but it was like, no, I'm not doing that. And then, no, maybe I do need that. But I remember telling my dad. My dad's proper old school.
Yeah.
And he was like, "What do you mean you're a fucking lunatic?" I'm like, "Whoa."
Yeah.
And I eventually talked him round and educated, and was like, "No, this is helping
people
me.
And it's common,
this is good," and you know, kind of get into that. So I'm a big fan of therapy.
Yeah.
And it's something that, as Catherine McCune Foundation, you know, we've got specific mental health services for adults and kids.
Yeah, great.
You know, it's very, very tailored towards inflammatory bowel disease and the effects of the challenging effects of mental health on that. So it's, I think, you know, it says more about other people, what their reaction is, I think.
Yeah, and I think like a lack of knowing what it is as well sometimes, like
that's what I mean.
just absolutely just not understanding. I think more education about different stuff, or trying to dispel things that people believe that aren't true.
Yeah, but I find it quite interesting, but and I kind of understand it that you felt that when you had something physical that it made it easier to talk about.
Yeah. Which is odd. It's really odd.
I kind of get it, but
and I think a lot of people sort of do. And then of course there's like the years since that play's been written of like so then when I came off steroids, it was like a period where I think just like my adrenal glands were really shot, or like I had a lot of fatigue, and fatigue is something that I like really have with IBD, I think. And then it's like, wait, am I experiencing depression, or like, can I not get out of bed because I'm exhausted, or is it mental, or is it physical? And why does it matter which one it is? But how do I want to know so that I can try and fix it. But then it's sort of like a snake eating its own tail, in that like, if I'm in bed all day because I'm physically unwell, then I'm not very happy, you know, that I'm a bit depressed. And then I'm in bed again because I'm depressed, and then I don't feel well. And so it's like this whole cycle of stuff. And but definitely the diagnosis of Crohn's made me see my mental health in a different way, and in a more forgiving way, and also made it more of a priority to get that sorted and to prioritize making sure I was well, because I knew that while mental health stuff doesn't cause IBD, it doesn't help, you know, being stressed and things like that particularly.
Absolutely not. I mean, stress is a big one for flares, definitely for a lot of people. I know that so many people have got, you know, what triggers them is different. That's one of the absolute bastards of the inflammatory bowel disease. Like, you know, it's not. Everybody's so different.
I know. I wish everyone. Yeah, it was more, and I think that also is part of the diagnosis thing. It's like, oh well, I've just heard Hayley's show about, you know, going to the bathroom and seeing vegetables in the bowl, but I actually just haven't shit for a week, like, so I mustn't have Crohn's, but actually it's both Crohn's, but it's just different symptoms.
Yeah,
so I've got to see Robin's show and then mine.
Yeah, is Robin here?
Yeah, Robin's in Edinburgh. I'm so sorry I didn't tell you. But mind you, Robin's been selling out big crowds, so she'll be, she's got people.
I know one of her friends that can maybe get us in.
Yeah. Yeah, go see. I'm sure I'll pass it on.
Do you know something? I was actually going to say to Jules, because I was like, why don't we go through on Sunday maybe? And
do it.
Go back to Edinburgh.
Do it.
Because I want to see that butterfly rave thing.
Yeah.
I want to
that
see
was
that.
awesome. Someone from the cast was in the audience yesterday of Shitbag.
Oh, wasn't it?
Yeah. I didn't recognise them because they're dancing for so long, and then they were
really
just
good?
in their hoodie. Yeah, it was so good. It was really funny. There's lots of solo plays at Summer Hall this year, and then I think that's because it's like so costly to do anything other than a one-person show as well in the Fringe. But there are a few things that aren't solo plays, and so I was keeping tabs on these different things, and there were 2 plays particularly that I'd noticed had like gotten awards and 5 stars consistently, and I was like, I got to see them.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, let's go see one of them. And so I went with my partner Justin.
Hi, Justin.
Hello, Justin.
I met Justin last
He met
night.
yesterday. Yeah.
He just didn't fancy it today.
Oh yeah, well yeah, we've been waking up at 10 a.m. So 8 a.m. He was like, you go. And I was like, yeah, fair enough, yeah. And but
and it's Justin Australian as well. You know,
yeah.
From home.
Both from Melbourne, yeah. And he works in theatre by trade. Like that's his job. I think a lot of people have their partners over here supporting them and like pushing the buttons up the top. But I'm like,
and they're cheaper as well, eh?
Yes, yeah. Well, I have to pay him because that's his job. Like that's what he does.
Yeah, but you get a better rate.
Yeah, slightly maybe. I don't know. Work it out. Who buys the baked beans? But yeah, so I'd gone to Butterfly in the Rape. This is totally a side note, obviously, but whatever. But we'd gone into Butterfly for Rape, and I told Justin, I was like, this is an Irish play. Because there's another work called Anthem for Dissatisfaction, which is a Scottish play. And so we went in, and it's this endurance dance piece that they're dancing the whole time, and it's like being in a rave, and it's absolutely amazing, and you're going, how are they dancing for this long? But at the start, I thought it was an Irish play. So I was sitting there watching these people dance, and I was like, how are they going to transition into speaking? Like, this is amazing. I was waiting for the play to start. And then I realised, I've walked into the wrong one, or I've told Justin we're going to see an Irish play. And then I was like, but I know they're Irish. They're definitely Irish. And then at the end they take a bow and they're like, we're from New Zealand. Thank you for watching. And I was like, oh God, I'm so sorry. But it was so amazing. It was one of the best things I've seen. So I'm glad that we went. But it was just funny because I absolutely set us up for the wrong thing. I'll have to see the Irish play next. But then I'll think it's a dance piece or something. So silly.
But that is that I think that's part of the beauty of the Fringe.
Yeah, it's so weird.
You just don't know
There's
where
so
you're
much
going to get.
stuff. Oh, I have to tell you one story, which is quite funny in that there was lots of publicity around this show because she put a call out. I think it's a kids show to do with the environment and keeping the waterways clean.
Right.
But in her show, there's a giant poo, like a massive inflatable poo, like with big eyes, like a character. And she had put out
like this week.
Yeah, like that guy.
This is her positive.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you met one of these before?
No, I saw it when I was in there though. And yeah, so it's like this but massive. And she'd put the call out to performers on Facebook saying, I need someone to dress as the poo every night. Can artists come and help me? And someone in the media had been like, this is a hilarious story. So then they wrote this big article about it and it was published everywhere that this woman's looking for a giant poo. And someone had sent it to me, obviously, because the show's called Shitbag. And I was like, ha, that's very funny. And then she got in contact with me because I'd commented on the post and she said, would you be interested in dressing up as a giant poo? And I just forgot to get back to her, but I should have done it. It would have been quite funny. I was like, there's just so much at the Fringe. It's just so funny. Like the things we do. And it's not, it's not about Crohn's either. It's like just completely different.
Yeah.
But I guess our shows are related.
See at Summer Hall, if you see in the kind of courtyard, but where the food and stuff like that is, have you been over to the palm reading thing?
Oh yeah.
Have you done it?
No, but I've spoken. Oh really?
We did it. We did it last
I should do
time.
it.
It's not real.
No.
Well, not that palm reading is, but right, whatever you believe in. But
yeah, it's like AI or something.
Yeah. But
like,
it's funny.
Yeah.
It's quite funny.
Yeah, I've spoken to the people that like help run it.
Yeah,
they're really lovely.
The girl that was lovely.
Yeah.
Ainsling or something like that.
Yeah. Shout out to them.
Yeah. The thing was great. But it's just one of those kind of bizarre things that you get.
Yeah, lots of stuff.
So you've been diagnosed. You're going through your adventure, in Sydney. The mental health is. Where are you sitting with it? You know, you come off. You come off the drug, and then you're not quite sure where you are you?
Yeah, because I'd been put onto Stelara and then weaned off the steroids, but it was on a very high dose. So coming off them then caused like that fatigue sort of period. So I was just sleeping a lot and a lot, sleeping through the day. And yeah, I guess like reaching out to both the psychologist, psychiatrist that I see and then the Crohn's doctor and being like, I'm sleeping like so much, but not really. I guess you say that you're sleeping and people are like, oh yeah, like that's not, the worst thing in the world. It's not bleeding or whatever. So I guess still trying to figure out how to deal with the fatigue of it is something I'm still find difficult, like because it comes in waves, I guess. But yeah, so after that high, there was definitely a crash of fatigue and probably like a looking back on the things that I'd done and experienced in a bit of a low patch in terms of my mental health, but not the sort of crash I'd had in the past in terms of a severe like depression or anything that was really extreme, which I'm grateful for. That's been at other times in my life instead. Pardon me. And yeah, so then I was on Stelara, I think, for like maybe about a year.
Yeah.
And then that stopped working, which was pretty crushing because I thought that medications would last longer. And I had in my brain that, of course, well, not of course, but I had in my brain that there's only so many medications that you can try. And if that stops working, then surgery is what happens. And then, the bag fear and things like that.
So we call in the office, we called it the ladder of catastrophe.
Yeah, exactly.
So you go from one thing to the next, and before you know it, you're up this ladder of doom.
Justin calls it spiraling. Don't spiral.
But it's it's
legitimate as well.
Justin's right. It's a thing.
Yeah, it is. It is.
You can. It is absolutely a great word to describe it. Whether you call it the ladder of catastrophe or spiraling, it's exactly what it is. You go for, one thing leads to another, and then you make a conclusion, and you've just basically made it all up.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't actually know.
That's true.
But it's like it's where that massive anxiety comes from, and where you can get become depressed and become, thinking, it's not a great situation you're in, but it's trying to get away from that spiral, because that spiral can take you into a dark place. That's and
it doesn't help either the physical stuff or the
No,
it's funny. It's when I'm being anxious about Crohn's flares, and I know I'm in a flare, so I'm anxious about it, but the anxiety makes it worse. And I'm like, I know this in my brain that this doesn't help. I need to stop being anxious, but telling yourself to stop being anxious
just makes you more anxious.
Doesn't really help. So it's just like. Just trying to find little ways to get out of spirals or the ladder of stuff. And then I went on to infliximab then, and I've been on that since the start of this year, but then at the, start of last year actually. And then in about April, that one stopped working for a bit. And then I went on some steroids before the Fringe. And I was like, this is so ironic that I'm about to do this play overseas in, what feels like the height of my theatrical career in terms of like coming to the other side of the world and doing this show.
Yeah, that's huge for anybody.
Yeah, it's great. But then I was like, it's so ironic that it feels like history is repeating itself, or like I'm on steroids and in a flare when I'm doing a show about a time when I was 2 years before or something or 3 years before. So, I guess just knowing where to go from here. I think I probably won't do this show heaps more. Like I think.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. What kind of, apart from somebody who offers you the TV deal.
Exactly. That's fine then.
If Netflix is watching.
So funny.
Seems fair.
Yeah. Well, then that's the thing. I'll get someone else to act it out, and I'll just sit back and write some stuff and chill out and be less anxious.
Count the cash.
I'll be so less anxious if I have to write a Netflix show, which is a lie. That's the thing. It's like, oh no, but if that was to happen, then of course, the stakes get high and then you're more stressed or something.
Of course.
Not that you have to be. It's just sort of where my brain tends to.
Yeah,
work.
but it's a big responsibility. That's your Netflix show. I mean, if we talk about it, we can manifest. We can manifest it.
Exactly.
We can manifest it.
There's a BBC writers' chat tomorrow. I'm going to. I'll pitch it at the BBC.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. Who knows? But also then there's anxiety about representing this story as well as, and I mentioned in the play of I feel like I've almost jinxed myself by writing this whole show about colostomy bags without having one. And it's well then, but that's the spiral again.
Yeah, but again, it's...
And it also wouldn't be the end of the world if it happened, There was someone in the audience yesterday that put up her hand that had one.
She did?
And at the end I was like, how did you go with it? Hope, And she was like, yeah, I just wanted to give you a hug because I was like, it's not that deep. not that it's not that deep. She didn't say it like that. She was so amazing. But I guess she's had it for 10 years and she had a party this year because it was her 10-year anniversary and everyone came dressed up as like an organ or something. She's really great. And I remember I met her a little bit before. I met her before yesterday and she was like, I love it. It's great. It's the best thing for me. I really love it. And she was really, really, and I think, as I said yesterday, which I don't say every day, but in the play, but people that have bags that are open about it, that talk about it, that post videos, that influence sort of thing, podcasts like this, meeting people, your colleague that came up.
Yeah, I think
and showed the
bag.
Yeah. One of your colleagues saw the show for people listening and at the end was like, hey, and then lifted his shirt and he had a bag and I was like, respect, and sort of nodded because I'd had lots of people come up and talk to me about that they have one, but I hadn't actually had anyone just lift the shirt and show me. Flash their bag. I just thought it was so great. And someone from Summer Hall was walking past and he was like, I saw that happen. That was so cool,
It's very him.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
It's very him. It's very him.
And it feels like so many people that I've spoken to are like, oh yeah, I have a friend that has that or my parents have that or...
Yeah, but
it's pretty...
Do you know what?
Yeah.
It's in many respects saves people's lives.
Yeah.
But it gives them a life back.
Yeah.
Totally. I was at a fundraiser on Sunday, and it just so happened the woman that was sitting across from me, I'd never met in my life, and she didn't know why she was there. She just came. She got an invite from a friend. I didn't. Well, she knew she.
Sound like she
knew she was coming to a fundraiser. I'll reframe that. She knew she was coming to a fundraiser. She's smart.
Yeah.
She didn't know what it was for, so it was for IBD, and she said to me, because she didn't. I had to go up and say a little bit about the charity and stuff like that. She didn't realise that I was that guy, and she went, "Oh, I never realised you were that," and this blah blah blah. And then my dad's actually in the hospital just now. Dad's 76, and he's had Crohn's for years, and he's just getting the operation for a back. And she was so delighted for him, and so was he, because and she said this phrase that's a beautiful phrase, but it's sad, but it really hit home. And she said to me that Crohn's disease has made my dad's world so small, and I thought that is a beautiful way of putting it. And I said, but what it's our job as a charity to make that world bigger. And it was, it was a really poignant way of putting it that I had actually never heard before. I thought it was really nice, but I think that's our job as a charity is absolutely to make the world bigger when it feels small, to take you out of isolation when you think you're the only person, and lots of other things. So she was. Her dad. I think her dad was. He should have had the option actually.
Yeah.
I need to see how he went. So I'm sure it'll be fine. Yeah, but I think you touch on it in the play. For me, you obviously touch on it playing the shitbags are playing words in many respects. But for me, but it's like it is naturally that fear, and that's we touched on it earlier. It's only a natural thing. When did you decide to write the play? At what point in this absolute roller coaster?
So in the play, I say that I was writing it as I was manic, and actually, what I was writing, at the time I was writing lots of poetry on Google Docs, and so, but I have never really, I was like, I trained as an actor, and I've never written a play. Really, I've written a small sort of thing, but I haven't. It's my first play. And so after
which, if you don't mind me saying, makes it all the more incredible.
Thank you. Should have told the Telegraph.
Yeah, fuck them.
I know, I appreciate the shout out from him. It's all good. Yeah. I'm clearly fine.
Any publicity is good publicity.
So I was getting sidetracked in my brain at which happens. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So I sort of had all this like writing, I guess, from the time when I was a little bit manic. And I also had written actually in the hospital the week that I was there, like writing down, like dot points of different things and being like, I should turn this into a play. But when I sort of ended up with all of this poetry writing stuff and had calmed down a little bit, or like found more of a central or like more balanced place, I was like, okay, this has been very interesting and I do think I want to write about it. But poetry is not what I want. Like I'm a person that does theatre stuff, so I could turn this into a play. And so that's...
So did you adapt the poetry into the play? Was the poetry like almost like a journal? A
starting point? Yeah, I guess, yeah. Although not much of the sort of poetry is in there, but like I guess that was a reminder of different things that happened. Yeah, so I sort of took that as like a basis, or I guess doing that poetry gave me the confidence that I could maybe be a person that writes something as well, because I did, as I mentioned in the play, the ex that I'd separated for after the 6.5 years studied writing, like is a screenwriter. And so I had in my head, well, I haven't trained as a writer, so I can't do that. But then I guess after all of this writing, I was like, no, I can do it. So then I sort of sat down on this train and put my headphones in and like smashed out this play over not very many days. Like it all sort of like came out at once, I guess. And then I sent it to a place called KXT Bakehouse in Sydney, which is a theatre in Sydney. And they had like this storytellers festival of like new plays that could be read by actors. And so I submitted it to that, didn't think it would get it. And then they were like, yeah, we really like it. Come over and do a reading of it. So I did the reading and so worked on it a bit to get to that reading and that public presentation. And then I read it and people really loved it and they laughed and I was like, whoa, it was such a high, just this one show. And I think if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have had the confidence to fully stage it. So then I pitched it at a place in Sydney that got shortlisted but didn't make it. And then about a year later, I did it at Melbourne Fringe Festival, which is October last year. And yeah, there, I guess that's where I'm from. I went to drama school there and have lots of mates that do festivals over there. So then everyone sort of really got around it and it ended up doing really, really well, like overwhelmingly well, to the point that it probably went so well that now everything else feels like a failure in comparison. My 4 stars and, I've now got this like complex about, nothing will ever be as good as that, which is stupid. But yeah, it went really, really well. I got some awards. It sold out completely. It was extended, all this sort of stuff. So that was awesome. And then I did it at the Comedy Festival at Melbourne in April this year, last minute. And because it's not comedy as well, like it's not stand up, but it is funny, but I'm far happier being in like a theatre context now. But then I've had to sort of like edit it along the way a little bit and then it came to this one here.
How different is the show that's at the Fringe to the one in Melbourne?
Not that different. Yeah. And I think that's maybe part of the like feeling like it's time to write something else and not knowing actually what that is. Yeah. Like I feel like it could go in a lot of different directions in terms of creatively, even just like what the form is or what I want to do next. But I think I know it's time to do something new. Yeah. I'll squeeze a bit more out of this one.
Yeah,
if someone in London wants me to perform it, or if Netflix is on the line, you know, or like I'll probably do it in Adelaide or in Sydney or something. But
we get so many Netflix executives watching Gutsy on a regular basis. Just looking for that one IBD story that they can convert into a show. What was the one? What was the Scottish comedians one that blew up on Netflix?
Was there one about Crohn's?
No. It was a Scottish comedian. The Baby Reindeer.
Oh yeah, Baby Reindeer. Yeah. Fleabag and Baby Reindeer are like held as like this is the Fringe. There's a show at Summerhall that was in the Telegraph article as well called Baby Rain Flea Deer Bag or something, and it's like a whole sort of like discussion about this phenomenon of like people putting, I guess, like personal stories, like their trauma basically on stage, and then it being really successful, and then them having to follow that for a while, and it really like 'cause it's really changed the landscape of different stuff, and it brings a lot of
because they get defined by it as well, don't they?
Yeah, that's true, and that's the other thing. It's like, you know, we were talking about that Crohn's. I don't want Crohn's to define me, or that Crohn's shouldn't define me, and there's been a whole range of other things I've dealt with that I've never spoken about, but the amount of times I've talked about Crohn's now in comparison to so much other things, because I've written this show, and like because I'm the producer as well, I'm constantly having to write Shitbag is a darkly comedic one-person play about mania, Crohn's disease and casual sex. Like I'm constantly, I wrote that bio. Yeah, there's no team, it's just me. Like it's, well, Justin's there as well, but like a lot of it is me doing stuff. So
yeah, but I remember reading in an interview. In fact, did I read it? No, never. I watched it. It was a video clip, and it was Hugh Grant.
Yeah.
And he was telling the story, you need to make it the team. So he used to have people phoning him and pretending he was his agent. So he'd put on
that's funny.
The different voice and all that kind of stuff.
Should do that.
And he had a different email address.
Should do that.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
It's a thing. So that, you need to speak to such and such from the team. You know, you speak to my management and that shit.
Yeah. That's like Tiny Table Reads is like the company that's producing this, but it's actually just me. Tiny Table Reads is just me, which I know happens with a lot of different stuff, or it's just I decided to put it under that.
Yeah, but you talk about we mentioned that like Crohn's. You know, we don't want anybody's condition to define them, because we believe that they've got, as a human being, you can live your life despite that. You know, it's part of you. There's a certain level of embracing that and go to the next. But in that kind of positivity that as an organisation, our charity tries to kind of drive that attitude. The difference with you, in many respects, is that you've written a play about it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that many other topics within it. But so you're owning that shit very much. So the play defines you for a while, whether you like it or not.
I know, and because it's been the first,
and how it goes on, and there's a big part of me believes that there's much more to the Shitbag story.
Yeah, and there is, and there is.
I mean, for the future, for it.
Yeah,
So
and also stepping into sort of like feeling like I could then help educate people or advocate for different things within it. Like, and it depends what happens with it, or, oh, whoops. Sorry, I hit the microphone. I'm just so angry. And it happened. Punch. No. It depends what happens, but I guess, stepping into like a place of advocating for different things and meeting different people that are doing similar things with different illnesses and different like disabilities back home and stuff like that as well. It's been really fascinating. And I think because I had this other journey with mental health things, but I didn't feel like I was adding anything that would benefit or be new about that illness into the scene by writing a play about it, or I didn't think it would be helpful. Whereas I felt like when I was diagnosed with this, I'm like, oh, what a great play. Well, sort of. I was like, I feel like this is less talked about. Yeah, exactly. Right. Well, that's, I guess, just how artists think sometimes, or comedians. I remember Liam sort of mentioning like, comedians just, you write about your life. So when something weird happens, it's like, all right, this is next year's special. It's
got to be, and I have to mention, we we lost a dear friend of the foundation, a close personal friend of mine. At the end of last week, but absolutely legendary Scottish comedian called Gary Little, and his full thing was pretty much, you know, making comedy out of disaster. You know, it was a big part of what he did and his life experiences and stuff like that. And for me, that's my favourite comedy and favourite entertainment, when you can actually see yourself in it, or you can see real life in it, and you know, it's not telling jokes. It's it's putting a funny tilt on life. Yeah, definitely. So it was an ongoing thing writing it. You got to Melbourne and you won all sorts of awards. Fantastic. And I wrongly thought that that the awards that you won there would fund your Fringe, but it doesn't, does it?
No. So some costs are helped by it. Like I've got the theatre, like I'm programmed at Summer Hall, which is great, which is hard to do if you're a first timer coming over. So that was really good. And then I didn't have to pay like an upfront fee for the theatre as well. And a few marketing things was sort of a bit helped having a work through them. But then, flights, accommodation, paying operator, which is Justin, who I genuinely am paying because that's his job. We met working together in theatre before. So anyway, I'm paying Justin, and then, I paid for PR, which is a big cost over here. It's not something I've done before, and I've been, I think, struggling with, just knowing that I need support. And because I was in a flare when I was coming over a few months before, I reached out to PR, reached out to someone to help me produce a little bit. So I've sort of there both costs, and just, knowing that I need support, but then that costs money. And it's just a very, very expensive festival. So, I did a little bit of crowdfunding and sort of applied for some grants, and some ticket sales have happened, which is good. So hopefully it should break even sort of thing. But I guess also, like in the show, I talk a bit about how back home, I guess like every health system is very different in how they deal with chronic illness and disability and things like that in terms of financially supporting people. And back home, there's a thing called the NDIS, which is the National Disability Insurance Scheme. I think it's the eyes insurance scheme. I should really know more about this. But I'm not someone that is, I guess, in inverted commas, I'm doing the inverted commas with my hands. Like, I'm not like disabled enough, in inverted commas, to have financial support. Mind you, the NDIS for people that do have severe disability is also not good. You know, there's problems with all sorts of it.
We absolutely have the same challenge here.
Totally.
In fact, we just introduced a service to support people going through the process for benefits. Because it's such a minefield.
Totally.
And you know, I'm sure there's other conditions like this and other challenges, but inflammatory bowel disease doesn't tick the boxes. You know, so if you don't fit in that box, and you know, you could be seen as healthy. I mean, the horror stories that we've been hearing since we started this. So what you're explaining and back over in Australia is, you know, we get similar challenges here. Where guys try to access support that they really should get.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, and because it's like I'm not ill enough to qualify with this, but I'm not well enough to go to work sometimes. Yeah, and I'm on medication and have appointments that cost money that is ongoing for the rest of my life now, and the medication that I'm on makes my immune system a bit shit, so then I pick up colds more often. Yeah. But then that's not Crohn's. Like when I'm not even in a flare, it's like I'm my immune system's pretty crap and fatigue, so then works hard and then have to pay for like it's just this loop of like finances are a thing.
I know because I mean, so your Crohn's disease is so generous at giving you these other wonderful things to do.
Thank you so much. Yeah. More plays.
The gift. So if you've come over here and you know, again, I thought, I mean, we both thought, myself and Jules thought it was absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
And what a voice! You sing for a little bit, innit?
Oh yeah.
That came from nowhere.
Yeah, I used to sing. Yeah, I used to do like opera stuff.
I was going to say it was very operatic.
Yes, it was very operatic. And I was also saying to you that last week my voice was tired because it's 4-week festival, and so last week the opera was sounding a bit crap. But
So when you say that it was operatic, did you do any shows?
Yeah, I was in some like youth operas, I guess, because I guess in the past is me as a teenager. Really, I'm 26, but I did it.
Yeah, you're not.
Like
You're not exactly old.
No, yeah, exactly. And then as a kid, I did like music theatre, and I was in a show for like a year professionally as a kid, which was Mary Poppins, but it was like a professional version in Melbourne that ran for a year. So I have this like weird music theatre singing past that is somewhere in a dark closet locked away.
No, so you need to celebrate it, man.
Yeah. It's so random. It was funny. I came over here and someone was like, "Are you British?" And I was like, "No, I'm not."
It's because you did Mary Poppins.
I think sometimes back home people are like, "Why do you sound a little bit more posh than you should?" I'm like, it's because as a 10-year-old I was in a British accent for most days of the week. Anyway.
Yeah, spoonful of sugar.
Yeah.
So how are you just now? How's your health just now? You were saying you were coming over here in a bit of a flare.
Yeah, I think the flare, I had to be, so I take 8 weekly infusions of a medication back home, the infliximab, but because that's sort of stopped working a bit, we meaning like my gastroenterologist recommended that I went on, so I did a course of steroids for a bit, which I was very nervous to do.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I know that when I'm on it, I feel really good, really, really energetic, but also other symptoms start to come up that I don't like, in terms of like weight gain, and it's not good for you overall or with your bone health and things like that. Like, it's just not a medication that's meant to be on for ages. So, and then I know about the crash afterwards, and I was like, I'm doing Edinburgh Fringe, like I can't crash,
No.
So, so I did that, but also being over here, I then went on to injections every 2 weeks of, I think it's called Remicade, but I think it's basically infliximab, but in a different format.
Yeah.
But it's every 2 weeks, and I inject it myself in like a pen, I guess like diabetics have sometimes, in a pen myself, which...
Is it that wee needle?
Oh no, it's like a pen thing.
Yeah.
Like a large like this, and then you take the cap off and you just like stab it in. And sorry, this is a bit of a brutal thing.
Yeah.
But
not for me.
No. Yeah. But because that's every 2 weeks, it was meant to help the medication work in a slightly different way. Yeah. So I think I've been like pretty good. I'm not in a definite flare, but I think the spike of adrenaline and anxiety each day of performing on like, I guess like an international marketplace with Netflix watching. Obviously. But just like being in an environment where I'm like, yeah, this is like a professional like environment that I'm trying to put my best foot forward in. So I've been anxious about doing it as best I can. So every day it's like, it's a hit of adrenaline, and the play is like, quite dramatic. So I have to go through a whole range of different emotions. So I think that hasn't been great for my body probably, or my brain, but I've dealt with it better than in previous seasons, I think, because I'm more aware of how doing the show affects me. But I know that overall it's not great to do long term, and that it's time to do something else, or to be really thoughtful about how I'm doing it when I'm doing it, and getting more support next time.
Yeah, but well, you've got everything on your shoulders, haven't you? With
Yeah.
this? That's the bottom line. You're the everything in it.
Yeah.
Apart from Justin. Who's a very, very
and and other people that helped a lot at home. Like, I had a lot of people giving like an hour of their time. Like, so many people helped back home as well, particularly with the first season. Like a lot of people. But I guess particularly in this season, it's mostly.
Yeah, and I don't think you can underestimate the magnitude of that. That 1 hour. People just see the 1 hour performance. But it's so much more than that. It's obviously the prep, the aftercare as well.
Yeah,
for you as well, because it's an absolute roller coaster of emotion.
Yeah,
all the way through. There's some bits that are extremely funny, and then there's some bits that are super, super emotional.
Yeah,
and it's an absolute roller coaster in that respect. So that's going to have an effect on you.
Yeah.
And having that intensity for a month.
Yeah.
So how many shows are over the month? Like 25, 24, 25?
23 I'm doing, 23? I took the first 3 Mondays off.
You took this Monday off. I just want to see you took this Monday off when I had planned to come through. And it was really selfish, Hayley. Really selfish. I believe it's on this Monday, but
it is on this one. It's the last one of the festival. I was like, I've got to do the last one. You know. Yeah. Just to annoy you personally.
Yeah, well.
Because
Listen,
tried this one.
Join the queue, mate. Join the queue. Join the queue. So, how long are you in Scotland for then? Are you going straight back to the yachts?
We are randomly going to York.
Oh, I'd love to go to York. It's meant to be
Would
beautiful.
you?
It's
Oh,
meant to be beautiful.
Good.
Grant,
because I've said it to
York?
other people and they're like, why are you going to York? Yeah. But it was sort of like I guess slightly cheaper place to stay in between Edinburgh and heading back to London. So we're just going to like collapse for 5 days and like read some books and go and see some stuff in York. Yeah.
York's meant to be amazing.
Good.
I would be excited about that.
This is so good. Justin personally will be incredibly excited by this because I was like, York, that's a bit random. Okay. And then everyone we've told has been like, but then I got on board. I was like, I'm so sorry I discredited York. Like, absolutely, let's do it. And then everyone we've been telling me like, why going to York?
No. I know people that've been to York and said it's amazing.
That's good. I'm excited. So that'll be good.
So I'm looking for. But please review it. Please send us your review of York.
You work for York. Travel.
I heard it's amazing.
No, that's good. So that'll be good. And then going to London for 3 days and then heading back home.
You know, but of course, if anybody from like kind of York tourism or anything like that would like us to review it.
True. Yeah.
Seems fair.
Yeah.
After plugging it so well.
Yeah, exactly.
So you go to York for a few days, which you might now actually be looking forward to. And then you go to London for a few days, or are you just going straight back?
For London for like 3 days, or like 2 nights, and then back on the 2 long haul flights all the way to Melbourne.
Yeah, where are you stopping off?
I think Kuala Lumpur.
Kuala Lumpur. You staying?
No.
It's nice.
Yeah, it would be.
That is nice.
Yeah.
In fact, I've only ever been once. I was there for maybe a week, 10 days or something like that, around that area. But when I was on the way to Australia.
Oh yeah.
When I was backpacking.
Yeah. Well, my backpacking's over. I've got to take my backpacks back.
Only for a wee while. Get it back out. Get a bit travelling.
Yeah, that's true.
And what's your plans when you go back to Oz, back to Melbourne? Yeah,
I mean, it's sort of back to. Pardon me. It's back to life, I guess, like more normal life. I now have like a, because creative work's quite random particularly in terms of money, and so.
Which is really unfortunate.
It is unfortunate, yeah. Yeah, it is really unfortunate. But I have found a job that I really, really enjoy and get a lot out of, that is also with a lot of other creative people, which, as I say in the play, that is true. I work at a kids' hospital called the Royal Children's Hospital, which is like very amazing hospital in terms of, like I think globally, like it's got a lot of good stuff going on. There's a fish tank, like it's great there. No, it's an amazing hospital, and it's where I was.
No, you need to explain the fish tank now.
I know.
Like some people are watching and they've got this little bowl. Some people have got.
Oh yeah,
and
true.
Then some people have got like an
aquarium. Yeah,
you know the one in Dubai where they've got like whales in.
Oh yeah, okay. There's no whales. It's somewhere in between those two, but it is like this big like tube that runs through the emergency room.
Really?
Yeah, so that when kids are like waiting and a bit distressed, they can just like watch fish.
Which is a common thing.
Yeah, it's just really random, but it's really cool.
So what do you do there?
Yeah, so I do work there with the Starlight Foundation, which is basically like arts music therapists or play therapists, but as people that haven't trained in the medical field or as therapists, we have all like got performing degrees basically, and so we're there like in a character, I guess, a broad character that's very flexible called Captain Starlight. So we're from space and we come down from planet Starlight each day, and then we get to Earth and we just go around and play ukulele and hand out craft activities and tell jokes and tell lots of fart jokes and just see. Well, exactly. I know. I'm very good at them. Yeah. Yeah. And
funny that.
I know. So there I'm like Captain Bananas, and then over in Edinburgh, I'm Shitbag, and I'm neither of those things. I'm somewhere in between, you know, because they're really polar opposites. Because Shitbag's got a lot of, you know, adult themes, and Captain Bananas has got zero adult themes.
I would like to think so.
Correct, as it should be. Yeah.
Over here we have the clown doctors.
Yeah.
That sounds something similar.
Yeah.
And they go about and they entertain the kids, and they do an absolutely phenomenal job.
Yeah, and I really, really love this job. It is exhausting though. I think like
It's a lot of energy.
yeah, it's a lot of energy. It's 9 to 5, like being very positive and being very positive, but also reading reading the room and absorbing, similar to the play as well. I think like reading the energies that people are at, so that you don't come in and you're just like, hello, happy. You've sort of got to meet people where they are, and then our aim, I guess, in our job, which is an amazing job to have, particularly in this context, is to like leave kids happier than what we walked into.
Yeah. And sometimes the parents, you see the parents.
Absolutely, and siblings as well.
Yeah, of course.
Because obviously, I think when some people receive a lot of medical treatment, and then there's siblings that maybe get left behind. So we have like this room called the Starlight Express Room, where kids can come and play video games and do craft and just be kids.
Yeah.
So that's brilliant. Yeah.
Brilliant. Good for you. That sounds amazing. And anything theatre wise in the planning? Have you any auditions, or is it any shows later on in the year or next year?
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna be working on whatever the next thing is, which I don't really know.
Have you got any ideas?
I've got too many ideas and too many directions.
You just need to shake the tree till you get something.
Totally. I just need to sit in a train and write my next magnum opus. It's a little bit, I know that saying this myself is a little bit cocky, but it's a little bit like having a second album problem of like your first one going too well and then having to write the second album. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, most people write a play and it doesn't, like, I was expecting no one to come when I first did the play because it was the first one. I was like, I don't know if it's any good at all. And then it just went really well.
But that's only natural, isn't it? You know, and yourself, you maybe looking at it and going, I think that's decent, but
who
that's
knows?
me.
Yeah.
You know, is it going to land? And you whether it's you writing the play and performing it and producing it and doing all those such talent, is. You know, you've kind of got an inclination, but it's you can never read the audience and what they're going to like. I mean, even you get musicians, you hear things about big tracks that have been huge, and they're like, I never even thought anything about that. Somebody else wanted it on the album and it became the biggest hit. Because you sometimes don't know what the public.
You don't know, and this show is not for everyone. Like it's not received like. I think people that have something at least in it that they can relate to, it goes better. But also if they can't relate to any of it, then I hope that they can like maybe learn something from it, as you sort of said as well. Yeah.
There's
a lot in there.
There's a lot of themes in there that's not just IBD, as we touched on earlier. But and some of that will be a little bit too harsh for people. You know,
definitely.
It might be a bit much, and that's fair enough as well. But you need you don't mind.
Yeah,
You've got to. What has been your best experience of your run? You know, what can you take from it? What's been the best bit?
I think,
or are there maybe more than one?
Yeah, I think
hope there's more than one.
Yeah, I think that meeting people afterwards that have experiences with themselves or with family members or people that they know, usually with IBD, sometimes as well with some of the queer themes in it, and people thanking me for creating the work or for putting it on, or like saying that I really resonate with this, thank you, or telling me their story and saying that while it hits, really traumatic things that have happened, that they actually still laughed at the work, or like at the work, like had a good time and feel like this has been a cathartic experience to go to, or like find it a positive experience, but also feel moved by it.
Yeah.
And meeting people with, similar stories or very different stories that have similar relation that, and knowing that they still like it. Like when I meet people that have a bag as well, particularly that liked the show, that's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, like your mate flashing the bag. It's true. It's true. That was, you know, like things like that are just like, hell yeah, you know, I'm glad that I've done this and
you know, it's but I can't imagine what it's like, you know, but you've got this thing, your heart, your soul, you know, everything about you is open in it. You know, it's for me it's incredibly brave. And then you get that feedback. You know that, I mean, that's quite powerful.
Yeah.
You might be quite good at this.
Netflix. It's just such a joke.
I mean, if it's not Netflix, I mean, Amazon. I mean, they might have a punt.
Yeah.
They might have a wee punt. I mean, even a little BBC series might not be too bad. You know.
Come on, ABC, back home.
Yeah, I was going to say. I was trying to rack my brains for an Aussie channel there. I was trying to rack. It's Channel 9, I think.
Yeah, there's Channel 9. There's Channel 7, ABC. I was told once I have a face more for the ABC than for Neighbours or like for Channel 9 or something.
So, right, no, you explain that. How can you have a face more for ABC than?
Because they're sort of like more like alternate or artsy rather than more like commercial, like, you know.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know. I accept myself. A face for podcasts. No, I talk a lot about like looking weird and stuff in the show, which I think like some people like.
I believe you called yourself a mushroom.
I did, yeah, because my hair looks like a mushroom a little bit sometimes. Yeah, which someone sent me a message that was like, I really love the show. I hope you know that you're like, you're not actually that weird looking. I was like, oh, okay, that's nice.
You're not at all.
Yeah. So who knows? I should probably stop saying it as much. But anyway, my point is that it's less mainstream. This story, you know.
Yeah.
I think it's got a bit more grit to it or something.
I think that's it. Not
less polished. Yeah.
Yes.
Which I think is good. I think that helps.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And what have been? I'm not going to say the worst things. I'm going to say the most challenging, which is a bit more diplomatic than the worst. Go for it.
The worst.
Yeah, what's been shit about it? You know,
the show.
You know, what's been challenging and your Fringe run?
I think that I hadn't remembered that. I think I'm in like a very safe arts bubble back home, and like I forgot that people with more conservative views would maybe see the show or review the show, and that maybe like media and government is more conservative than I realised over here, particularly with some of the queer themes, stuff like that. But I just didn't expect that, and because I present as relatively straight and I have a partner that's, you know, a man and all that sort of stuff, so I haven't faced as much, you know, I like absolutely pales in comparison to what other queer people face in terms of you know, like fully like hate crimes and things like that and discrimination throughout their entire lives, whereas I've had less of that, and so forgot that maybe I would come up against people that are more challenged by the work, by the queer themes, which I just forgot would be a thing, which I'm very lucky that is a surprise, but not lucky because it's a thing. That is a thing, and you can definitely see why a more conservative audience would have a problem, right? Yeah, although I try and like, I'm like, if you watch the full show, I hope that you can, I'm pretty forgiving on people with all different views as well, you know. Yeah. There was actually yesterday's audience, there was 3 older women sitting on the side.
Seen them?
Yeah, you see, yeah. And one of them came up at the end and said, I wasn't sure at the start, but you got me. You got me, and I was there, and it was brilliant and blah, blah, blah. But it was so funny. I was like, I know, I didn't have you. I could see your faces.
Oh, really? I see that. See, that's that.
And I don't always get them, you know.
Yeah, no,
that's fine.
Pretty impossible. Do you see it as a challenge? If you think, so if you know what, I'm not getting them.
Yeah.
Do you go? Do you pay them a bit more attention?
Oh yeah, like the people that were sort of falling asleep, I'd sort of walk towards them and raise my voice a bit, like not as in to be cross, but just like to make sure they're awake.
Right.
But it was the heat. It wasn't my show, right?
Oh, but, obviously.
Hopefully.
Obviously.
But also, I'm exhausted too when I watch other people's shows. Sometimes I'm doing this. And I'm like, oh, it's actually not your fault. Genuinely, I'm just exhausted.
Yeah.
And because people watch like 8 shows in a day at Fringe.
It's a lot.
Sometimes. So anyway.
It's a lot. But I think, but see when it's like that type of theatre and it's, you know, it's a really close proximity, it's really personal.
Yeah.
And you know, it's almost as if, you know, when we went to see that the other show, it doesn't tell you what it's going to be. Anyway, it was you know, the guys are right on top, and it's as if they're talking to you.
Yeah.
And they're looking right at you, and it's powerful. You know, there's a lot of emotion in it, and yours there's a lot of similarities as well. In that, you know, sometimes I thought you were talking to me.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
sometimes it probably was. It's in this theatre you can really see everyone's faces, which isn't always the case. And I think also some audiences that don't watch as much theatre or like live stuff forget that, like, we're just so on our screens all the time. You sort of forget that you're actually like, your responses are affecting the audience. And some performers don't let it affect them as much, and there's more of a fourth wall up, like they don't respond or they don't look at you, and that's a different form of, like, that's more like theatre. A lot of theatre's like that. But I guess mine is sort of like a little bit like comedy in the way that can sort of ad-lib a bit or make jokes about what's happening in the room. Yeah,
there's a little bit of ad-lib in there, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely, which Justin makes sure doesn't get out of control. Often afterwards, we would just go over the weird things that I said. And he's like, you said this today. I'm like, did I? Oh yeah, thanks for reminding me.
So it's fair to say it's always slightly different, isn't it?
Yeah, slightly, yeah.
Yeah. So, before we finish up, we always kind of finish on a quick fire.
I'm ready.
You ready?
Yep.
You sure?
Yeah. I'm ready. I'm ready.
So, three bits of advice you would give to someone living with IBD.
Whoa. Okay. Okay, 3. Oh, it's quick. Okay.
No, but listen, it's quick. It is quick fire. But if you want,
slow
if you want
fire. Slow cook.
Slow motion.
Slow motion. I would say to find stories from other people, like reach out to a community of other people with IBD.
Yeah.
Because it's but then my second piece of advice would be everyone with IBD has a very different experience. So focus on your own journey with it as well. And the third one would be to make jokes and to talk about it if you can, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
No, sound effect. Do you know something? One thing that I was that I meant to ask you earlier was, we often talk about and you kind of touched on it there. You know, when you say to reach out to communities, we talk about finding your tribe, and your tribe might be just in general in life. Finding your tribe, that's your crew that kind of you get through life with, that support you, and but. For someone living with IBD, that might be someone that's going through the same as them. That might be their boyfriend, their girlfriend, or their mum, their dad, their uncle, whatever. When you were going through that journey, when you were and just been diagnosed, you went to Sydney, you were doing your thing. Who was your tribe supporting you going through that? You know, did you have somebody that you shared that? You shared your challenges with. You shared, or were you just like going for it?
Yeah, I think sort of going for it, but I think I met people through the theatre show I was doing and like made friends with people. Yeah. That are doing arts things, which has always sort of been, I guess, the tribe that I'm a part of, because that's been throughout most of my life. So yeah, the people I was working with that I became really close friends with. And did you feel that you could share what you were going through with them? Yeah, I do. I made some really, really close connections over there. And then like having my mum, like calling my mum, as I call her in the show, using a toilet seat as the phone in theatre. But yeah, so yeah, like calling my mum, and I think, spoke to my psychologist and psychiatrist back home over the phone. And
What's your mum's name?
Rose.
Hi, Rose.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, in the show I say that's my grandma's name. Like, because
that was my grand's name.
Your grand's name?
My grand's name was Rose.
Wow. Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. So my
Rose.
mum's name's Rose and my grand's name is Iris. So another purple flower, but yeah.
Very nice. Very nice.
But I couldn't have it be true. I had to change a small detail so that the play's half real, you know.
Okay. So 3 bits of fantastic advice. So 3 bits of advice that for our IBD community. 3 things that make you happy.
Doing craft stuff, which I then really like doing with kids at hospital because I know that that's a really good distraction. Seeing friends in like foyers of theatres and just talking to friends. And the third thing is, seeing family. Yeah.
3 things that piss you off.
People that are not open to other people's experiences of things or like don't have empathy. I don't have empathy for people that don't have empathy. That pisses me off. The cost of stool tests, shitting into a cup in Australia costs money. The third is...
that's wrong.
I know.
Oh, that's fucking
I know. And the third thing is the rise of racism within the politics. The rise of conservative... I don't know. I don't want to alienate. No, just the rise...
No.
I just think like the way that the world is headed, I'm a bit scared about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It's,
or just like, I guess, back to the first point of like people being with different political views, feeling like it's on the opposite side and that we can't talk about things as well.
yeah, if you've got a different point of view, you're I think it would be very, very easy if not. Some people definitely feel that way, be pretty scared of where the world sits today.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
And
It's a bit deep. Yeah.
yeah, it is deep. Aye. But we need that bit. I think more than ever we need that bit of escape. And I think that's why I think the arts is so important. Because it gives that little bit of escapism for that period of time. Gives that little bit or big bit of joy. Depending which way you go to see.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but seriously, I honestly believe that. I mean, we were before we started filming, we were talking about the Oasis shows, and love them or hate them, but I think those boys have brought a whole big stack of joy to the world. I really do believe that. But I also believe that your shows brought a bit of joy to the world.
That's good.
Hayley.
That's good.
And listen, I thank you immensely for taking the time from your busy Fringe schedule to come and visit us at Gutsy. I think you are an incredible talent. I will follow your career with great interest, and hope that I get a percentage of the Netflix deal since we've pushed it so much.
This is Netflix, right? You guys are Netflix. These cameras.
Yeah, you're going to open the door and they're going to have the contract. It's one of those surprise things.
Makes me laugh. That's so funny.
So no, in all seriousness, thanks for coming on. I think your story's really inspirational. The play's funny. I don't think this is the end of the play because I think it's going to be in so many other places. So this will be a promo tool for it, I'm sure, at some point. So, cool. Thanks so much. I've really enjoyed your company, really enjoyed Shitbag, and we'll be following your career with a lot of interest. Well done.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Cheers.